Hey, what's up YouTube? It's George Rover from Team Onigas here, and I'm actually not prepared to do this video, but there's a really interesting deck being released with Hidden Arsenal 5 on December 6th. Um, I thought I'd go over it with you. I kind of made a rough build of it. It's really looking really fun right now, and you guys might enjoy it. So, what we have is Gem Knights, and I really like them. First of all, you have Gem Turtles. I'm not prepared at all. I don't know where to put this. Alright, that's into you. Gem Turtles, basically it's a flip effect monster, 2000 defense, level 4. Um, and it's basically flip, and then you can add one Gem Knight fusion from your deck to your hand. Um, basically, you've all seen these pulled, and you're probably wondering, how is this good at all? I don't understand how this deck is good. Well, these play a lot like e-heroes, basically. They have, first of all, their own Stratos. If I could find it in here. Alright, here it is. Gem Armadillo. When he's normal summon, add one Gem Knight monster from your deck to your hand. He's the deck Stratos. He basically plays just like Stratos, 1700 attack. Except you can use 3 of them, so he's really good. Um, and then they also have their own Lone Fire Blossom called Gem Knight Alexander Knight. And basically, he's the Lone Fire Blossom, 1800 attack. He special summons any normal Gem Knight monster from your deck. And the 3 normal ones you go into are Gem Knight Sapphire, Gem Knight, if I could find you, damn it, Gem Knight Guard Knight, and then I don't have the last one, but it's like Tena Marine, whatever. Um, basically, Sapphire, 0 attack, 2100 defense, level 4. This guy, Teta Marine or whatever, he's 1600 attack, 1600 defense, level 4. And then Guard Knight is 1900 attack with 0 defense, level 4. And these are also used for the main fusions as well. Now, before I told you about Gem Turtle, about how he searches out Gem Knight Fusion. Well, this is Gem Knight Fusion. This is basically a polymerization that's searchable through Gem Turtle. The one special thing about Gem Knight Fusion, which is very interesting, is that it has a bonus little ability on top of its ability to fusion summon. Basically, what this thing can do is while it's in the graveyard, you can remove from play one Gem Knight monster to add this card back to your hand. This is a massive play. So let's say you did Alexander Knight and just sent him to graveyard to get your Guard Knight to fuse. Then you can remove Alexander Knight to bring this back to your hand and refuse again. I think that's really cool. Now, obviously, you're using a lot of normals, a lot normals, and you're going to be using Rescue Rabbits. I'm using 2 of them in my build. Very pretty, very good in this deck. And, of course, you have to use Tour Guides, which they're somewhere. I'm not going to completely rip my deck apart for you. I'm just going to show you the basic combos. So it has the Tour Guide Rescue Rabbit engine, which is always a good engine as well. And unlike Dino Rabbit, which I used today at Regionals, which sucked. The Dino Rabbit is so inconsistent. It's not even funny. But in this deck, opening normals isn't bad, and it's nice to get the Exceeds off, especially when Gem Knight Pearl is going to come out soon. He's a rank 4 Exceed for Gem Knights. He's very good. 2600 attack. Now for a random support card, I actually threw in here that a lot of people probably don't think of. This card is called Dark Factory of Mass Production. It selects 2 normal monsters from your graveyard and add them to your hand. If you've already used Gem Knight Fusion, this card is a 1-card fusion. You play Dark Factory of Mass Production, return 2 normals from your graveyard, and add them to your hand. That's its effect. So you grab 2 normals, add them to your hand, and then you activate Gem Knight Fusion from your graveyard. Remove a Gem Knight monster, return Gem Knight Fusion to your hand. You now have everything you need to fuse into another Gem Knight monster. I think this is a really ridiculous combo when it comes to the deck. And it gets worse. On top of that, of course, you've got all normal support cards, dualities, scores, smashings, three of every normal, and yeah, a lot of the deck is in twos. Um, that's not the main reason why I think they're so good, though. They have all the support, but you're probably thinking, what about the fusions? Well, you have Aquamarine, you have Gemnite Ruby, and I don't have this other Gemnite. I guess I'm just gonna have to wait till the Hidden Arsenal. I'll get him as a secret, unfortunately. I want him dual terminal, but Gemnite Topaz. Now, I'm going to explain Gemnite Topaz first while I still remember his effect. Topaz's ability, he has 1800 attack, 1800 defense. His effect is that he can attack twice per battle phase. On top of that, when he destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's attack. So he's a Flare Wing Man and a Blade Edge, I think. Yeah, something like that. So basically, he's how you're going to pump out the most damage in this deck, because it's basically, if you can get two direct attacks off, by itself it's 3600 damage. On top of that, it's 1800, so it gets over Tengu. It's going to get over two Tengus, and it's going to be dealing 36 or 35, depending on whether they're in defense or attack, because they're going to be taking 17 from the burn as well. So this gets over two Tengus as well, which is really nice. Also, to fuse into him, you use one Termine, which is the proxy guy, which I don't have the 1616 normal, and one Gemnite monster. That's it. Next is Gemnite Ruby. Not only does Ruby have piercing, Ruby has 2500 attack and 1300 defense. On top of that, a really interesting ability is that Gemnite Ruby you can tribute a Gemnite monster on your side of the field, and he will gain that monster's attack until the end phase. So basically, if they have a set monster, boost him, run it over. I like the combo. It's not really. Oh, I'll show you the combo next. Actually, I didn't actually say the combo. I like them because people are starting to do Spirit Reapers and also set random stuff like Raikou. I know the Temporal Machine God deck that's coming out next set uses a lot of, mill cards like Raikou, stuff like that. So, worst comes to worst, hit a Raikou, they take a good, almost more than 4,000 damage with him pumped up, and then I guess they get rid of it. But, here's the fun part. Right here we have Gem Knight Aquamarine. He was the only one not decent enough to actually be made into an ultra rare in the dual terminal. It's fine. Whatever, he's still good. And I'll explain why. He has 1400 attack and 2600 defense. Not bad. He uses, oh yeah, and this guy uses Guard Knight in any Gem Knight monster. But this one is Sapphire in any Gem Knight monster. 1400 attack, 2600 defense. When he attacks, he's changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase. So you can always freely attack with him and he goes back to defense position. He's good protection. But when this card is sent to the graveyard, select one card your opponent controls and bounce it. Why is this card good? Other than it being a compulse. Well, I will tell you this ridiculous combo right now. It is very easy to get more than multiple fusions off in one turn thanks to the reusability of Gemnite Fusion. So this situation will happen more often than less. You have Ruby, and you have Aquamarine. Aquamarine is a mandatory effect, meaning he will not ever miss timing. Activate Ruby. I will gain the attack of Aquamarine by tributing him, aka sending him to the graveyard. He gains 1400 attack, boosting him to 39. Aquamarine activates now. Aquamarine will bounce one monster you control. If it's your only monster, I'm swinging for almost half your life points, 3900 damage. I'm going to boost his attack. I'm going to bounce your Synchro. I'm going to attack over your BOS. This happens way more often than not often. Also, worst comes to worst. These are all level 6s. That means very synchro friendly. And since this is a mandatory effect when it's sent to the graveyard, if you synchro with Aquamarine, you bounce one of their opponent's cards. Oh, and what's good is it specifies opponent's cards, so if your opponent doesn't have any cards when you decide to synchro with him, you don't have to worry about having to force to bounce one of your own monsters. So basically, worst comes to worst, play it, synchro, bounce. Aquamarine is one of the best control based. This one is the biggest hitter. This one can get over the most monsters. This one will do the most damage to Topaz. That's why this deck is so good. And there's going to be more coming out in yu-gioh 6, which is Hidden Arsenal 6, which basically includes the Gem Knight Pearl, which is their Exceed, making Rescue Rabbit much, much better in this deck. On top of that, you get Gem Knight monsters that activate when that special summon banished Gem Knight monsters, which is really easy to do because you banish Gem Knight monsters to bring back the Gem Knight Fusion from your hand, or from the graveyard, and on top of that you have Gem Knight monsters that activate by discarding a Gem Knight card. Not monster, but card. And the last time I checked, Gem Knight Fusion is a Gem Knight card. I'll make sure just in case, because I know some people are like, oh no, it's not. See right there? Gem Knight Fusion. It is a Gem Knight card. You discard it, you get the effect. You activate Gem Knight Fusion to put it back in your hand. There is no downside to this deck. I feel like this deck has a lot of potential. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of cooler decks too. Like, there's going to be Temporal Machine Gods finally out. There's going to be Plants are still going to be big. I mean, Dino Rabbit's still going to be around. You got Evolzors, you got all this new cool shit coming out. But you got Gishki, you got Vylon, but my favorite is Gem Knight. So leave a comment below and tell me what you think. If you thought of some really cool, awesome tech to put in there, let me know. Peace out, guys.